24 in 60.
It's the 24 in 60, an ultra-quick and humorous review of the worst days of Jack Bauer's life. This time it's Season 1, Hour 2, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. on the day of the California presidential primary. Let's get to it! Somewhere in the Mojave Desert, a parachute perfectly arrives safe on the ground. Over at CTU, Tony Almeida has pulled up the passenger listing. Time to break down the people inside the listings to see who might have been the hitman aboard. Tony Almeida wants to know what's going on, but Jack isn't sharing. But Nina is. Nina begins spinning a yarn about Mason's efforts, and Tony laps it up. Tony Almeida will have all the information within the hour. Despite what you might think of Nina, Nina knows how to play the game. Back in the desert, a roaring fire has been made, where evidence galore is being burned. A Jeep then pulls into frame and asks,
"Did you get the ID?"
She sure did, and she gets in the Jeep and off they go. As the Jeep's lights trickle out of sight, a motorcycle arrives at the bonfire with a beeping vice that defines the card that remains behind. Who is this? What happens next? We don't know. But we will, as this episode of the Hit Fox Show 24 unfolds. Terry and Alan York are still on the hunt and eventually find their way to, you guessed it, the furniture store. They walk inside the door that's been left open, okay, and they find nothing. Except, of course, a wide open front door and
a condom wrapper.
All right. Yeah. Back in the ever-moving love wagon, it's getting dark and loud. Janet and Kim are now really in deep trouble. Walsh arrives at a parking structure to meet with Scott, the man who has evidence of someone inside the agency who is involved in the potential Palmer hit. He gives Walsh a data card filled with Palmer references. Woohoo! Walsh tells Scott that he's got to stay the course to get the ball rolling, and then he can get out.
Wow!
But you see, Scott's already sent his family away, and he is out, but he'll stay another 24 hours. No, he won't! A series of shots ring out, and Scott is gone. Walsh is now under fire and is fleeing for his life. Walsh calls Jack and shares that Scott is down and that there are 2 shooters chasing him. He then gives Jack the address and requests immediate extraction. The phone goes dead as Walsh continues his evasion techniques. Jack's now in his SUV and speeds off to Walsh. He calls Terry to find out more about what's going on with Kim. Terry needs him to go over there, but right now, he can't. Bad things are happening. Jack will call her back as soon as he can. Back at the very loud love wagon, Rick shares that there's some stuff that they've got to do. You see, Rick and main man Dan are... Wait a minute. Janet is choking.
Yeah!
The van swerves to and fro. Back at the Palmer hotel room, they're getting news of the plane crash. And hey, Palmer's kids still aren't home from getting pizza yet. Sherry and David Palmer have a very short heart-to-heart conversation on the couch to quell some of the stress that came from the Kingsley call, but something still remains. Out in the desert, the Jeep arrives at a cool but dark bungalow, and we meet a man named Gaines. Gaines welcomes Mandy and offers her a giant briefcase of cash. He wants to know where the ID card. She continues to count the money, and Gaines offers her more work, but Mandy is not interested. And don't worry, soon the ID card will arriveth. Yeehaw! Jack arrives at the address that Walsh gave him, and Nina's been able to give him the entry code instantly to the door. The door opens. Jack's in. Lo and behold, Tony Almeida is listening to the transcript of everything that Jack and Nina are saying. Inside the structure, Jack is clearing corridors and stairwells on his way to rescue Walsh. Finally, he finds Walsh, who is able to share scant details about the conspiracy that's afoot inside of CTU. Over at the desert bungalow, Mandy's taking a break. What's this? It's Martin the photographer back from the dead? No, it's not. It's a plastic surgery rendition of Martin the photographer with blonde hair. Amazing. A dead ringer for the dead photographer. It's the perfect way to make their way to Palmer to secure his demise. Nina and Tony Almeida are wondering where Jack is. Well, Tony Almeida is. But Nina lays down the law. Tony's glad to take orders here in the CTU walls. But when it's time for the sugar walls, he's in charge. Over inside the structure, Jack and Walsh are slowly making their way down the staircases, and he realizes that Walsh has been shot. Bad. They try to use a tie as a tourniquet, and Walsh starts to realize that the end is far too close. Walsh apologizes to Jack, but Jack assures him that they're going to make their way to the car. Time to go! As they plunge into the darkness of the crossway, suppressed shots ring out. Jack takes down one of the assailants. Pew pew! Jack and Walsh are finally able to take down the other one, and it's time to get an ID on the bad guy. Woohoo! Jack Bauer heads bad guy word, grabs a pocket knife and a handkerchief, and secures a new rule of thumb. Knuckles and all. Back at the desert bungalow, a familiar motorcycle arrives. It's Mandy's female accomplice. And also, she doesn't have the ID card? Oh, wait a minute. She doesn't have it either? You see, there's a new player in town, and she's the only one that knows where the ID cards. Now they'll have to bend to her will to get it. Right. Terry calls CTU looking for Jack and needs the name and number of the furniture store owner. Super important and a necessary piece of intel, well, for Terry and Alan to continue their mission. They get it. Awesome. Over at the Palmer hotel room, the children arrive after pizza safe. Son and daughter arrive back and the daughter heads to bed. The son begins sharing details of their evening, but there's another call for David Palmer. It's a male voice, someone that David Palmer has to talk to right now, but not over the phone. They have to talk in person. Terry and Alan York are now cleaning up the mess inside the furniture store. Okay, whatever. We learn that Alan has been separated from his wife for 10 years, and hey, Nina's got the contact information for Mr. Norris Stay, the furniture store owner. Super cool and expedient. She calls and leaves a message for him to call her immediately. Back inside the Palmer hotel room, hey, it's Aaron Pierce, everyone's favorite Secret Service agent from the Hit Fox Show 24. He needs to speak to Palmer, but David's missing. He's left, and no one knows where he's at. Agent Aaron then shares that an added layer of security will be added and that there will be an attempt on David Palmer's life today. Down in the hotel parking garage, David Palmer saunters into an SUV, brings the engine to life, and roars into the dark morning. Meanwhile, across town, inside the structure, Jack and Walsh are almost out, but then another several suppressed gunshots crack the night's silence, and down goes Walsh. He's mortally wounded, and he promises that he'll not only get Jack out of this, but he also gives Jack a data card. You know, the one that Scott gave him. He's got to get it back to Jamie at CTU, who can then match this card to the mole inside of CTU. It's their only hope. Jack nabs the card, makes a valiant dash to his SUV, and with the Sean Callery soundtrack swelling boldly underneath him, he zings between cars, headed back to his next series of obstacles back at CTU. On his way to CTU, Jack Bauer calls Jamie and tells her that he needs a cleanup crew to head to the address that he was just at, and that he's got a card that needs to be read by her, and her only. Hey, cool! He's going to send it to her via the super kick-ass system built into the dashboard of the SUV? Kick-ass! Super cool and expedient. Jamie's got the data, and she's on it. Back inside the loud, proud love wagon, it arrives at their destination. Kim still won't capitulate, but she will if they start hurting Janet. They demand that she call her mom and tell her that she'll be fine and that she'll be home, I don't know, in a couple hours. Kim finally does it reluctantly and shares the message that
everything is okay and she'll be back in a couple of hours.
But also that
I love you.
A sentiment that Terry identifies as an alien message that's never been shared from Kim's lips. That means that things are definitively not okay. Back at CTU, Jamie's worked her magic and has a match. After securing the data port inside of Jack's SUV, she sends an eyes-only dedicated message to Jack's eyes only. The owner of the registry terminal and source for Walsh's information, and thereby likely the mole inside of CTU is Nina Myers? A rifle shot rings out. It's target practice time in the desert as the newly minted blonded Martin the photographer begins honing his craft to complete his attempt on the life of presidential candidate David Palmer. And the boop, beep, boop, beep continues. You've just listened to another episode of the 24 in 60, an ultra-quick and humorous review of each episode of the Hit Fox Show 24. This is a companion podcast of the ongoing episode reviews via the 24 podcast. In that podcast, you experience production designer Joseph Hodges and OG podcaster Mike Wilkerson as they detail the worst days of Jack Bauer's life.
It's all happening in real time.
It's happening now, and it's all available at 24podcast.com. Come and watch and listen at 24podcast.com. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.